Hello everyone. So welcome to another video on the Syllabus Explained for Public Administration Optional. In this video, we are going to take up Unit 5 of Paper 1 Administrative Theory, that is the unit of accountability and control. While the UPSC does give us a syllabus, it gives us a set of topics, but the mains examination is all about the micromanagement of that topic. Hence, the deciphering of the syllabus to its granular entities becomes vital, because the questions in the examination actually focus on one or more of these micro topics. So, while preparing an optional, we need to read between the lines to actually get to the grips of a certain topic, because without that we won't be able to manage neither the preparation part nor the answers part. So in our series we are trying to break down the syllabus to its manageable chunks and to reveal the things that lie between the lines. So first let us see what does UPSC gives us about the unit of accountability and control. So this particular unit, and I always say this, marks a shift from core theory to theory plus practical approach. Why? Because the entities which are mentioned as part of the syllabus, we find them actually happening as part of the government in action or the public administration. These are the concepts plus practical manifestations both, whether you talk about civil society, citizens charter, right to information, social audit, and the ecology in which the administration operates, the interest groups, voluntary organizations, media, the ultimate goal of the administration, the public welfare. So the interactions between citizen and administration, and the devices which are used to fix accountability, legislative, executive, judicial. So these are not just theoretical percepts, they make into constitutional practices, political practices, right? Day-to-day part of the workings of the administration. So these are not just the theories, there is certainly a lot to it. This is practically those theories into action. And of course, the conceptual understanding, the theoretical bearings of key concepts like accountability and control. So while UPSC gives us this, we need to delve deeper into what lies beneath them to understand the true demand of the unit. So let us get to the micro details, and it's pretty exhaustive one. In some sections I have detailed out a level more, right, just to explain a point. I'll show you. So to begin with, the standard aspects, the concepts of accountability, responsibility. See, responsibility was not given, but it is related, and hence we should have the concept of responsibility as well. Its meaning, that again meaning part would entail scholarly views. The key differences, meaning of concepts like authority and control, though authority we study at the time of Weber as well, but it is important that we invoke authority here as well. Okay, so this is the knowledge part or the know-how part of the meaning of certain key ideas which are required for this unit and are related to the subject of public administration at the very core. Once we have done that, we are simply looking at the practice part of it, the operational part. Difference between accountability and control. Reasons why you need accountability, why you need control. how these ideas originate, and then further the typology of accountability vis-a-vis substantive and procedural. Mind you, there can be multiple typologies of accountability: political accountability, executive accountability, judicial, legislative. So these are on the operation side, whereas on the concept side you will have things like substantive and procedural, right? There is more. So key dimensions, that is the significance, the Westminster chain, practically what we follow in a democratic system. What are the issues, barriers or problems? How to increase accountability? What are the different types of accountability? The internal, the external. So internal control and accountability, similarly there will be external devices. Then somewhat financial aspect, that is budgetary control. Okay, control vis-a-vis human resource management, that is personnel management control. Organization and method system, because they link to the work processes and help establish chain of accountability. Basically a superior subordinate relationship with a process demarcation. How accountability and control become a question or things related to administrative ethics, role of leadership in accountability and control, and definitely the external aspect like we had internal aspect. So there is a lot many dimensions that we can draw from just the conceptual moorings of concepts of accountability and control. Moving further, we'll get to more traditional aspects, more seen, more perceptible, more in practice aspect, that is the legislative control. And that control over certain administrative acts like delegated legislation, in case of India the speech of the president, financial control through CAG, budget, parliamentary committees, because we are looking at the legislative control, okay, and the limitations of the legislative control. Similarly, on the executive side, on the bureaucratic side, on the professional organizational hierarchy, both from within and without, staff agencies, executive lawmaking, recruitment, civil service code, code of conduct, code of discipline. And since we are talking about a public organizational setup, a public bureaucracy, so the public opinion matters, because we are looking at the democracy, and in this democracy the public opinion itself act as a measure of accountability and control. When you will see an officer splurging, earning more than what his income is, then certainly it will raise questions, right? The conduct of the officials. So public opinion again is well galvanized, acts as an immensely impactful tool of accountability and control. So we will have to explore these dimensions. Then comes the judicial control, concepts like rule of law. On what grounds does judicial interventions are made? Okay, the basis, the logic, the theory, the ground for the judicial control and accountability. Why and how does judicial control bring about accountability, or why judicial control exists? What are the various ways? Just to give an example, I have put writ is one. To actually control the administration, the excess of it, to hold it accountable. Then The limitations of judicial control. See, I have pointed out certain limitations here just to break down a topic further granular. The unmanageable volume of work, post-mortem nature. It does not prevent an action, it is largely a curative action. The cost associated with the judiciary, the complex procedures, limits of the law itself. And now, since the administrative actions are getting specialized, so the judiciary at times cannot comprehend them. And this leads to delays and sometimes not so perfect judgments. Lack of awareness amongst the people and the erosion of autonomy of judiciary itself, because there is a balance of power between executive, legislature and judiciary. And whenever we are looking at administration, though we are looking at all the three pillars, but the day-to-day administration of the country is governed by the executive and the judicial control over that executive. Mind you, this unit will pin up to the Union Government and Administration unit as well in paper 2. Moving further, views of second ARC on accountability, very important to include. Then comes the topic of citizen and administration. And look how we have tried to explore its various dimensions, because all of these dimensions either have been touched by the examination directly or indirectly. What kind of interaction does citizen and administration have? What should be the principles, the core principles governing the citizen-centric administration? As a concept, what is citizen-centric administration? This is a buzzword that you would have heard time and again. Bring in citizen centricity, bring in that. So this has to be read. Citizens have grievances. Do they have channels? Right? What other institutional devices, whether parliament, legislature or judiciary, can be used to redress those grievances? Because those grievances crop up when administration and citizen interact and when there is a dissatisfaction. Okay? To that end, certain entities like tribunals have been appointed. This will connect to the unit of administrative law. Paper 1 only. Okay? What the institutional setup does. So you will think, oh, I am talking about paper 2 because we are talking about Department of Administrative Reforms and Public Grievances, DARPG. But certainly we'll have to use it here. So this unit also marks a point where paper 2 and paper 1 lines get blurred. What are the measures? Like single window clearances, common service centers. So I have put in information and facilitation centers. Okay? Online use of registration for grievances. Okay? Lok adalats. The issue of corruption, because that is one of the cardinal features when we see administration and citizen interact, the susceptibility of corruption. This is something that you will read in the significant issues as well. Institutions like CVC, ombudsmen like Lokpal, Lokayukta, grievance redressal cells of various ministries and departments. Okay? The Directorate of Public Grievances, grievance officer, what is their role in this entire grievance redressal mechanism? Because citizen and the administration will interact whenever there will be a public goods and service delivery, and there will be certain grievances at times. Moving further, role of media on accountability. And here, let me say, while we are looking at the traditional media, the print media or the TV media, but we'll have to look at social media as well. Okay? So why this role is important? Media links governments and citizens. What are the issues with the media itself? Okay? What are the issues with respect to Indian media? Certain questions that get raised. Press freedom. Why is it necessary? How the Supreme Court has actually paved the path for more press freedom. What do we need to do to protect it? Modern aspects like paid news, fake news, etc. What does the standing committee report say related to paid news? Because this was fairly in news for quite many years. Okay, and is paid news an electoral offense? Because we are looking at the administrative practices. The issues with the media in terms of their ownership patterns, the various types of journalisms, yellow journalism for example, okay, and how the media regulation is there, because there is no watchdog for media, okay. So the elements of regulation, what are the in-house mechanism which we talk about, the self-regulation, okay, what needs to be done, and how the digital media has changed the rules and why there are need of new rules. That is why you have digital media guidelines, so on and so forth. I mean, Elon Musk famously said that the traditional media is dead. You come on X for the news. So citizen journalism and things like that, okay. And of course certain rules which are recent, the intermediate guidelines, the IT rules that I was talking about, benefits of such rules, and certain things like media trials, selective targeting, and what are the measures that are needed. Because media is a key pillar, it is called as the fourth estate. So in that sense, media is a key pillar in the overall galaxy of accountability and control, right? There is a fear of media when somebody is trying to commit a wrong action, right? Hence it acts as a measure of accountability and control. Moving forward, the civil society. Certain fundamental aspects about the civil society, how its evolution was like, the need, how do they contribute, right? How do they bring about effective governance? How the civil society organizations operate, what various roles they play, what are their types, what are their issues, and what are their suggestions to improve upon their functioning and working. Within the scope of civil society, we shall take up NGOs, how they get established, their role, and see, I have sort of diversified this a bit further, okay, social safety role, improving the performance of government, the service role, etc. How NGOs bring about community participation, what are the advantages, and see, I've broken down the advantages further, and we need to reason them out while actually studying that how and why this is happening, okay. Their ability to experiment freely, flexible, adaptable, right, close connect with the people, right, and ability to communicate at all levels. Similarly, what we have done is we have marked out the issues, and you see here are the various issues that I have listed. Accreditation, the difficulty in funding, networking and cooperation, issues related to development, cultural hurdles, right, lack of volunteerism, laws and regulations, and the constitutional provisions, of course. Now, with regards to laws and regulations, I have taken one sample, that is FCRA, Foreign Contribution Regulation Act, okay, and the Foreign Exchange Management Act. How we can improve their working, right, capacity building, information communication technology, better monitoring, bringing in social work. Basically all these things are flowing from the limitations or challenges, okay. A key difference between civil society in general and NGOs in particular. Further, similar is the case with the pressure groups, okay. What methods they use, their characteristics, types, okay. Types you can see, I have tried to map it here, institutional, associational, anomic, non-associational. How do they function in India? The profile of pressure groups in India, their shortcomings. Often pressure group is considered or linked with political parties. So the difference between the political party and pressure groups. How do they interact with media and other interest groups? Similarly, with regards to voluntary organizations, the national policy on voluntary sector. So you will see that in this particular unit we have a very application orientation, right? The objectives of the policy, of course, right? And then the Citizens Charter Initiative with its significance, how it has fared in India, issues and the solutions. Issues and the solutions. In this slide you will find that the Sevottam framework for excellence in public service delivery, that is also very important. Moving further, see Citizens Charter in detail, Sevottam model, okay, 7 steps in Sevottam models, the modules, etc. The drawbacks, implementation and dependencies. Similarly, we break down the RTI because RTI always remains in news. Okay, how RTI links to transparency and accountability in the administration. Then further, challenges, issues both on the demand side as well as the supply side. Whether the government is able to service those many RTIs or whether there are issues on the demand side of the RTI. Issues associated with the law, structure, institutions, right? Second ARC recommendations. If you see the first report of the second ARC is on the RTI. Okay? Institutional issues, steps that can be taken, the current relevant burning issues, whether political parties should be part of RTI, arguments in for as well as against. Just to give a sample, political parties say that we disclose everything to Election Commission. If you want information, ask Election Commission. Why ask us? Okay. Moving further, and last, the social audit. To understand social audit, we'll have to develop a basic understanding of what is an audit, right? And what is social audit. Then what are its scopes and objectives, types, principles that govern it, how social audit is practiced in India, for example, in MG Narega and Jal Jeevan Mission, you will find that social audit is there. Okay, some important fact, the cycle, the whole process. And one of the issues with the social audit is that it lacks a statutory backing. Hence, a hypothesis about the social audit law and then its significance, and I have mapped out social audit and Manrega and challenges and its implications. Now, with such detailed aspects, the question can be as remote as just focusing on the issues of the social audit, a 10 marker, let's say. Okay, hence the understanding of all these, it might sound a lot, but it is not, because things are related. So when we teach it in the class, they very organically blend. Hence it does not come across as a burden, rather it is a breeze, rather it is a joy while dealing with these topics, because some of you or many of you have seen this in and around you. You can see this in motion. This is not just a theory that you are building in your brain, right? There are facts and figures to support these things. For example, you have transparency and accountability, you want to raise a complaint. There is the CP grams integrated onto your Umang app. A lot of you who are watching this can simply download the Umang app and see that the Central Public Grievance Redressal and Management System is integrated there. You can raise a grievance. So this is very practical and hence it's fun. Moving further, roughly 30 marks, 28.89 out of 400, right, every year. Okay. The topics that in the recent past have seen a lot of limelight include implication oriented, contemporary oriented topics like social audit, civil society, role of media. The legislative control and citizen administration in the recent years have taken a backseat. Okay, but it does not mean that they are not asked at all. Still there were two questions each from this. Now let us look at the positioning of these questions. See, here inroads are being made into the part B, large part A, but inroads are being made in part B. Inroads are being made in part B. Okay, question 7 and 8. Moving further, what are the sources? Of course, to get to the conceptual understanding, to get to certain scholarly views, you will need IGNOU material, Prasad and Mohit Bhattacharya. But a large amount of practical manifestation happens from the contemporary issues and the debates. For example, vacancy in CIC, right, non-disposal or non-publication of social audit reports, stuff like that. Okay, and of course we cannot exclude second ARC from our psyche while we are doing the unit of accountability and control. Well, so that's it for this particular session where we try to decipher the unit of accountability and control, paper 1 for public administration. I'll see you in another session, breaking down another unit of our syllabus for you. Thank you.